Good afternoon, sir. My name is Aulia Putri. I'm from class 33.1B.07. I would like to present my assignment. This is the general direction. The first, read the direction for the first. Part 1 until 3, you must complete the dialogue. Second, do the task as the follow. Makes the video and reads all parts, includes reading the question and answers. Record only one video, including all parts, and upload it to YouTube. You have to send back to my best only the link of the YouTube. Insert the PowerPoint as the tool to show the answer into your video. You must show your full of face. Duration is 1 week. Look at the time period at my best. The audio can be found at this link below. Just copy paste the link and found the audio. Part 1, complete the text. I will read this dialogue. Okay, so here's a joke. A man sitting on the veranda with his wife one night when out of the blue, he says, "I love you." His wife says, "Was that you or was that the beer talking?" The man says, "That was me talking to the beer. Maybe you found that funny. I find it hysterical." What makes a joke funny is a question that has beset the human condition since we lost our tails and started walking upright. But can scientists tell us today why we laugh? Scott Wim is a cognitive neuroscientist and the author of the book, The Science of When We Laugh and Why. And he joins us from member station KUAR in Little Rock, Arkansas. Thanks for being with us, Scott Wims. Thank you very much for having me. Tell me a joke and let's break it down a little bit, would you? Sure, I should warn you though, as a scientist, I'm not trained very well to tell jokes, but I'll do my best. Alright, so a dog walks in a telegraph office and he says, "I want to send a message," and the operator says, "Sure, what would you like to send?" And the dog says, "Woof woof, woof woof woof, woof woof, woof woof." And the operator pauses a second and goes, "You know, that's only 9. You can send a 10th woof for free." And the dog replies, "But that would make no sense. People never laugh when I tell that joke." I'm giggling here. Thank you, I wouldn't hold it against you if you didn't. Alright, I'm kind of getting my comedy writing sketch part here. But you're a neuroscientist. What makes it funny? There is one part of the brain that's worth recognizing, and it's called the anterior cingulate. It's not on the surface, it's a little below, and it's what we consider our conflict detector. Anytime we're confused and overwhelmed, or just we have conflicting information like in the form of a surprising punchline, this area gets very active. Why is conflict important in a joke? It's basically how we process things we don't understand. I mean, so much of our life is filled with conflict and not just jokes. I mean, people laugh at funerals, people laugh at tragic events, and it's because these are times when we just don't know how else to respond. I mean, humor is much broader than just a stand-up routine. It's just how we look at these moments in life where things don't make sense. So laughter is coping, bonding, lessening anxiety, the sense of discovery, surprise, and all these things. It is, and I think that's why it's so linked with health benefits as well. Now, humor hasn't always been looked upon so positively. You write that Plato and Jesus weren't funny. No, I mean it's really a shame. Historically, humor has not gotten a good rap. Someone actually counted the number of times that laughter occurred in the Old Testament. The total number is 29, and of those, only 2 are positive. In other words, only two are occasion of joy. Well, there's debates now whether Jesus loved not just in the New Testament, but in his whole life. And of course, Plato, Hobbes, Nietzsche, these scholars all have very negative view towards humor cause they saw it as something that weak minds did. It's not something that serious people do. Do you think men and women tell jokes differently? They do. It turns out that women laugh more than men, but they are much less successful in the world of comedy, or at least there are fewer professional female comedians, which is it's a shame. And people have wondered, why is this? Because it's certainly not that women have less of a sense of humor, and one evolutionary theory is that the men are raised and maybe even have an evolutionary benefit to being the funny people in relationships. Women make women laugh because it's a sign of genetic fitness. A man who can make his partner laugh is more likely to be intelligent than a good caregiver. And that's also why women consistently rate sense of humor as number one desired trait in a mate. For men, sometimes it's closer to number three, after intelligence and good looks. So women maybe aren't given the benefits and the encouragement to be as funny as they could or should be. You want to leave us with one last joke? Oh my, okay, I have had bad success with this in the past, but I will give it a try. Two fish are swimming in a tank, and one looks to the other and says, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" Scott Wims is a cognitive neuroscientist and the author of The Science of When We Love and Why. He joined us from Little Rock, Arkansas. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much for having me. And you're listening and maybe loving to Weekend Edition for NPR News. Part 2 complete this text. I will read this dialogue. That. Oh, what? Uh-huh. The movie is over. You slept through the best part. Uh-huh, I must have dozed off during the last few minutes. Right, you were gone for so long, you should have brought your pillow and blanket. So what do you think about it? Well, overall, I'm a little disappointed with the movie. I mean, the story was a little bizarre, you have to admit. I mean, really, how believable is a plot about a captain who navigates his spaceship to the far reach the galaxy and encounters a race of rock people? I mean, come on. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, you have to admit that the special effects were awesome, and the acting wasn't bad either. Come on, what about the ship's communication officer? I mean, what did you think about him? Well, wasn't he a little weird to you? He was always talking to himself, and he had that funny hair too. Well, he was a little unusual, but the ship's doctor was amazing. It was so cool when he brought the captain back to life during one of the battles. That was pretty realistic, but then the rest of the movie just went from bad to worse, and the photography was so fake. How do you know? You were snoring so loud, the neighbors probably had to close their windows. It was that bad. Well, let's go to bed. Let's continue to part 3. I will read the text. It was on a dreary night on November that I beheld the accomplishment of my toils. With an anxiety that almost amounted to agony, I collected the instruments of life around me, that I might infuse a spark of being into the lifeless thing that lay at my feet. It was already 1 in the morning, the rain pattered dismally against the panes, and my candle was nearly burned out, when, by the glimmer of the half-extinguished light, I saw the dull yellow eye of the Creator open. It breathed hard, and a convulsive motion agitated its limbs. How can I describe my emotion at this catastrophe, and and how delineate the wretch whom, with such infinite pains and care, I had endeavored to form? His limbs were in proportion, and I had selected his feature as beautiful. Beautiful, great God! His yellow skin scarcely covered the work of muscle and arteries. Beneath his hair was a lustrous black and flowing, his teeth of a pearly whiteness, but these luxuriances only formed a more horrid contrast with his watery eyes, that seemed almost of the same color as the dun-white sockets in which they were set, his shriveled complexion and straight back lips. The different accidents of life are not so changeable as the feeling of human nature. I had worked hard for nearly 2 years, for the sole purpose of infusing life inem- into an inanimate body. For this I had deprived myself of rest and health. I had desired it with an ardor that far exceeded moderation. But now that I had finished, the beauty of the dream vanished, and breathless horror and disgust filled my heart.